Hey everyone, welcome back to Tanner's Books and Beyond, and welcome back to another tag video. Once again, that I was tagged in like 2 months ago. So for this video, I was tagged by RC from NekuTheBOOKLocke, and it is the Never Will I Ever book tag. So it's all kind of bookish things that I'll never do, or never not do, or never stop never not doing. And before we get into things, I'm gonna forewarn you guys that this video will have some spoilers for the following books: Deadline by Myra Grant, If You Could Be Mine by Sarah Friesen, The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein, as well as Divergent by Veronica Roth. So number one is Never Will I Ever Ship This Couple, and if you were following me in October, then you'll know that the easy answer for this is George and Sean Mason from Deadline. The long and short of it is that they are step-siblings who have been together since they were little, and once again, step-cest is ew. And I'm also going to mention Sahar and Nazreen from If You Could Be Mine. Now, obviously, their relationship is going to have a lot of hurdles because this book takes place in Iran, and Sahar and Nazreen are both girls, so being in a same-gender relationship in Iran is very dangerous, to the point where if they were caught, they could both be executed. But I really felt like Nazreen was using Sahar, and that she didn't love her in nearly the same way that Sahar loved Nazreen. And unfortunately, by the end of that, Sahar kind of has the same realization, and even though they part on good terms, Sahar has realized that while she definitely wants to find love with the girl, and she believes she can do that, it's not going to work out with Nazreen on any level. Number two is Never Will I Ever Forget This Ending. Now, I've got a few entries for this, but fortunately I can talk about them without actually spoiling anything. The first one I've got to mention is Generation Dead by Daniel Waters, which at first glance I thought was basically going to be Twilight with zombies, but as it went on it became more and more layered, and by the time it got to the last page, it bucked the last remaining cliches it had in such a shocking manner. I was absolutely stunned at where this went, and it got me really excited for reading the rest of the series. Then there's Phonogram by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey, which is mostly a pop culture-centered fantasy comic, but has a sudden shift back to reality at the end that left me totally shook. And I've also got to mention Nos 4A2 by Joe Hill, just because it's so clever how it ends, because it actually has a stinger hidden inside one of the afterwords that gives the actual conclusion to the rest of the plot. And so I thought that was extremely cool, and I'm really glad that I started reading things cover to cover around the time that I started reading this as well. Number three is Never Will I Ever Get Over This Character's Death, and this one's kind of a weird one because they're pretty much a minor character. They really don't do much except further the plot of the main character. But in Divergent by Veronica Roth, the very first Divergent book, it's Will. And I don't know why, but just the fact that Triss had to shoot him in order to get out of there, and he died. He is Christina's boyfriend, and Triss had no choice. For some reason, just knowing that Will and Christina would never be able to see each other again because he was dead, I don't know, that just totally destroyed any desire I had remaining to read the rest of the books. And well, judging by what other people have said about the series and what's happened with Veronica Roth since, I guess I made the right decision. Number four is Never Will I Ever Stop Crying Over This Book. And The Art of Racing in the Rain, Garth Stein. Again, spoiler warning, but at the end, this is about a dog. It's from the perspective of a dog, and at the end, the dog passes away. And it's done very well, and it still ends on a positive note, but after growing so close to the dog Enzo, after growing so close to him as a character, and knowing all about him, plus the fact that I actually ended up reading this a few months after we had to put one of our own dogs down. Yeah, that may not have been the best time for me to read this, and I absolutely loved it, and it actually really helped me get through that grief, but it also made me bawl like a child. And my parents too. Number five is Never Will I Ever Read This Book or Series. Ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Number six is Never Will I Ever Stop Raving About This Book or Series. And I've got a few of these as well, just because I have room enough in my heart for so many books. Obviously, there's Not Otherwise Specified by Hannah Moskowitz, which is one of my latest and greatest favorite books of all time, just because I love the voice so well, I love the characters so well, and I find it very relatable. There's also the aforementioned Nos 4A2, which, the more I think about it, I think it's actually managed to push Needful Things out of the top spot for my favorite horror novel, and also this is pretty much the thing that I always recommend to people when they're looking for new and interesting horror to read. Then there's also the manga series Assassination Classroom, which I haven't actually talked about on this channel much, because I haven't talked a lot about manga in general, but this is probably one of my favorite manga series, and whenever I hear someone say that they're interested in reading manga, I will basically shove this in their face. It is such a good book. It is a really weird premise, because it is about an alien who is threatening to destroy the world unless his junior high school class can assassinate him before the school year ends, and he ends up being the greatest teacher they ever had, but it is so well done, and it is so touching and heartwarming at some points even. It's so crazy, but it is so good. Number 7 is never will I ever lend this book or series to a friend. And to be honest, that kind of applies to most of the books and graphic novels that I've got. I'm very protective of my books because the few times I do lend things out, it's taken like months to get them back, if I've gotten them back at all. I'm pretty sure one of my friends still has my copy of The Gunslinger. I do have a few things left out, but like, it took a lot of courage to build up and a lot of trust, and for a lot of my friends, like, okay, it's not that I don't trust my friends, it's just, no, I don't trust my friends. And number 8 is never will I ever not tag you. Choose 3 friends that you'll never stop tagging, and okay, to be honest, I probably would have tagged RC if he hadn't tagged me in this first. So I'm going to tag Brandy from I Ramble Randomly, I'm also going to tag Bree Hill, and I will tag Whitney from Witty Novels, because she cool. So that wraps it up for this tag video. I hope you guys liked it. If you want to see more of my stuff, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. You can also check me out on social media below, and also below you'll be able to find the links to all the channels of the cool booktubers that I mentioned in this video. And until next time, I'll see you all later.